Hi, it's Mike Gorman Show. Welcome back. We were just listening to a song called Walking on a Wire. That was like the beginning, wasn't it?
That was the
Lowen
very first, that was
Navarro?
the first Lowen Navarro single, um, and it cracked it on more than 50 radio stations nationwide in the AAA market. Before AAA existed, actually, they were rock stations and alternative stations and NPR stations. But we cracked it, and all of a sudden, these old dudes who nobody thought would, you know, do anything beyond writing for other people, became artists. It was a
You guess you
provocative
you
thought.
get you still get requests for that song, I bet.
I play it every night.
Every
I
night. Yeah.
absolutely get requests for it, and it's actually funny because when I play like house concerts, the host gets requests, right? And they
Yeah.
go, "Well, Walking on a Wire." I go, you don't need to ask for that one. That one's automatic. That and We Belong are automatically in there because they're, and I mean, people sometimes say, "Don't you ever get tired of playing that song?" And it's like, no. What what cynicism to get tired. Yes, the repetition, I get it. But nobody does these things without repetition. I mean, in your career, everything you did well, you did over and over and over and over and over again. It's not
Mhm.
like you negotiate one record contract or you negotiate one TV appearance or you organize one tour. Everything you do in any career, you do repeatedly. So,
Mhm.
yeah, playing Walking on a Wire every night, bring it on, man.
Now, you briefly mentioned the song in there that is a giant in your life, and that is We Belong.
Yes.
Top five, if not number one, in like 50 countries, and that was 25 years ago, and it's still you hear it all the time. And what
40 years ago.
what was that?
40 years ago. It came out in
40. I said 25, didn't I?
1984, 40 years ago. And I still sit here going, what just happened? Um, it was a massive hit. And then it did what massive hits do. It diminished and it was around and it got some radio play and was well regarded and earned some recurrent royalties. And then it picked up a little, and then it picked up a little more, and then it picked up a lot. And the last 10 years, all of a sudden, it's through the roof.
It's a
It's still,
standard. It's a standard now.
it's a standard now. And actually, I would have said classic,
Yeah.
except BMI sent me a statement uh, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, where it received a bonus for being a standard. And I'm kind of
Oh,
going,
wow. It's official.
it's official that it's a standard. And I just, holy Toledo. Um, at the time that we did it, we just wanted to get through the night. We weren't thinking, let's hit one out of the park. We were actually just thinking, let's take some swings in our backyard. I've been saying this lately in my shows for a few years now. I didn't want to get together that night. I was mad at Eric. We were fighting because he kicked me out of a band. And I didn't want to speak to him anymore. And I said, that's it. Our friendship's over. You kicked me out of music. I'm over 30. I'm not going to make music anymore because you made me make this choice. And so I was resentful. And he calls up one day, 2 months later, and goes, hey, man, I want to write a song. And why don't you just stick? And, but I sucked it up because I knew that I was also unhappy and not making music. So I figured, okay, fine. If you can't do it on a career path, just do it because it makes you feel good. He's offering a shot here. Just, let bygones be bygones and go write the song. And we wrote
Mm.
that song that night. And 1 year later, it was top five all over the world. And if I think about what would have happened had we not, had we said no,
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't know you. Um, I met you at the time that we were working with the Bangles, which was after We Belong. And if We Belong had never been written, and we never would have known them, which means we never would have known you, which means we never would have worked together like we
Yeah.
did from 92 to 04. And you never would have been on the Folk Alliance board. None of that stuff would have happened if I'd said no that day.
Yeah.
And so you look at a sum total of a life, and everybody wants guarantees. There aren't any. The only guarantee is I'm going to get up and I'm going to try. And then when I'm done, I'm going to get up again and I'm going to try again. That's the only thing you have control over.
I want to be sure of something here. We're talking about Eric Lowen, we're talking about
Yes.
Lowen Navarro, and so on and so forth. And I doubt there are people who don't know who he is, but let's make sure that Eric Lowen was your partner for many years, and he got hit
About
with,
about 30 years.
yeah.
And we met in 78. We started working together steadily in 81. We worked together a little bit 79. I went away for a year to London to work with a music manager in 80. I came back at the end of 80. And from that point on, we worked together steadily until he got sick with Lou Gehrig's in 04, retired in 08, and passed away in 2012. We were 32 years. And, you know, he still figures largely in my entire life because I play those songs every night and they were the experiences of a lifetime. He's been gone a long time. I've been solo 17 years. You know, so it's,
Which is
but it's,
phenomenal because, to interrupt, when Eric was getting sicker and sicker, his ALS is just a nasty thing to observe, not let alone to have. And you were trying to figure out, what am I going to do?
yeah,
I can't, at one point, I can't tour solo, is what you said. And I think people, including myself, said, yes, you can.
yeah, you sure
But it
did.
took a while to come around to thinking, well, I better give it a try. I mean, finally, you just got out there, and now it's 17 years later, and you're going guns, great guns.
Well, you know, the crazy thing too is that we were both right. I couldn't tour solo. I was dreadful for the first year. I was apologizing for being on stage practically. I was uncomfortable. It showed. I didn't have the tennis partner, so to speak, to, you know, I didn't have my ping pong partner. So I'm up there kind of flapping, going, how do I make this work? But I figured it out. And I started noticing when it got better. And then I kept doubling down and it got better and better to the point where I'm pretty facile at it right now. And you know, it's like it's very much like what Lowen Navarro was. It's a combination of great songs, a certain emotional level, and a certain amount of absolutely silly humor, and just, you know, dumb, crazy stuff. People laugh, people cry, and that's what it's for. But yeah, there was a point when I didn't think I could do it, and I wasn't doing it very well, but I kept going.
You kept going, and you probably did it better than you think, but I can understand that you're a bit of a perfectionist and wanted to make sure it was absolutely right, but it was brave of you to keep on going. It was, so other people may, after a couple of months, just said, okay, I'm right, I can't do this. But you kept going. And you kept going, I think, because people kept asking you to go. People,
It's true.
yeah.
It's true. And the thing is, people like the shows. They weren't seeing the awkwardness that I was, but I sure felt it. I'm up there kind of going, God, that was boring. You tried that joke, it didn't land. You said something stupid. There was a stage wait. You went a lot. But with repetition, I got to the point where I could figure out things to say. I developed a little bit of a shtick that worked, and that's evolved. That early shtick is gone. I don't do that anymore, but it got me through.
Mhm.
And right now, performances are very immediate. They're very of the moment. Like whatever it is that I'm feeling and whatever it is that's going on, I will draw upon. I did a show on the 18th of May. And earlier that day, I'd found out that my collaborator and dear friend and Eric's longtime collaborator, Preston Sturgis, had passed away. His brother, Tom Sturgis, who plays We Belong with Benatar, sent me a note to tell me, left me a voicemail. So in my show, I did every Preston Sturgis song we ever recorded.
Mm.
You know, Jane just said, this is what the set list is for tonight, and talked about him more than I might have. And it was pretty, you know, so the shows carry a certain immediacy, even if they're rehearsed.
Mhm.
You know, and you know, so and especially if I'm in front of an audience that I know has seen me a lot, none of the old jokes are going to work anymore. So I got to think of new ones. But again, it's
Yeah,
about,
and I was right. You were a comedy team that did songs every once in a while. I mean, the two of you were hilarious, and most of it was off the cuff, right? It wasn't
all
like
of
you
it.
wrote
It
up
was it
scripts.
was off the cuff. We would do crazy. I mean, part of it is that we realized that we bickered kind of naturally. We were close friends who were very, very different than each other. So we would, we would kind of snipe and bicker at each other. And we figured that would work on stage. Now, to be honest, that's the Smothers Brothers.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And we realized, I mean, I even looked at him once and I said, you realize Mom always did like you best. And people laughed because they knew the reference. But I figured, well, what the heck? If we're going to act like him, we may as well steal some of the material.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, one time we were playing and we had a horrible sound. It was like, "Ah," and he grabbed the neck of my guitar and I said, and looked at me and went, dude. And I went, and then realized he had made the mistake, not me. But he stopped me and
But he laid it on you.
yeah. And, instead of like going backstage and going, you really made me mad when you did that, it'd be more like, okay. Now, we did occasionally go like, dude, that thing on stage was really uncool. Please don't do that again. But we also knew, like, maybe like an old married couple, we weren't going to break up over it. We would get through it. We would, so we were pretty immediate, and we would, get hot. We never really lost our temper, but we would get hot or get bickery. And we would laugh our heads off. I mean, that was the part that was really, we stuck it out because we knew what we had, and we knew that we also sang better than anybody.
Yeah, boy, I mean, anybody who hadn't heard you, the closest I can get to, I hope this is okay with you, is Simon and Garfunkel harmonies.
Sure.
I mean, that was the best, other than them.
All the duos mattered to us. Simon and Garfunkel, Crosby, Nash, Everly Brothers, Righteous Brothers. They all had something that is the duo, John and Paul. That's the duo thing. And Eric and I had that. We were different enough that the voices blended a particular way. The Everly Brothers had sibling harmonies. They were identical. We were different. We had opposite tone colors that blended well, but we also kind of instinctively knew where the other guy was going to go. And that was something we never planned. We did it and went, oh, shoot, we better figure this friendship thing out, because this does not grow on trees. We knew it from the first time we sang together that this is, and you never think at the time, this is world class. We were years away, let me think that through, possibly 10 years away from making a record. But we knew that it was super, super strong. So we kept going there, and we would go there with facility.
Well, speaking of keeping going, we're going to keep on going into a break. And with a piece of music called All Is Quiet. You do this live very much?
I do it about half the time.
Okay, well, we're going to listen to a bit of it now going into the commercial, and we shall be back soon. This is the Mike Gormley Show, and I'm happy to have Dan Navarro chatting with us today.